Hi, you guys. Come on in and join me for another episode of Break It Down for Me, Christina. My name is Christina Wynn, and I want to be your favorite small business expert. If this is your first time tuning into my channel, here's what you should know about me. I'm a small business owner myself. I own a small business development consulting company, The Winners Club, and we offer business coaching, professional writing, so we can help you get a grant. We can help people with their business plans. We also help people get SBA loans. We do small business education and workshops. We're really immersed in the small business development space and can certainly help any business at any stage and phase of their business get to the next level. I am also a business advisor with the Small Business Development Centers Network in Illinois, and that's a program through the SBA. And I am a business consultant with the Chicago Minority Supplier Development Council. The Chicago chapter is a part of a larger network called the National Minority Supplier Development Council. And the purpose of the council is to help minority businesses get certified so that they can do contracting with private corporations. So if you're interested in any of the things I just mentioned, check the description box below and make sure you get in contact with me. Now, enough of all of that. Let's get into today's video. I'm going to answer the question, do you have to be certified as a minority-owned business or a woman-owned business in order to do government contracting? Do you have to be certified? So sit back, relax, and let's get right into it. So coming right out the gate, I want to let you know the answer to the question, do you have to be certified in order to get government contracts, is no. You do not have to be certified in order to bid on a contract through the federal government. However, the person or entity that is bidding on that contract would be considered a prime contractor. Now, later on in the video, I will define what a prime contractor is. But just to reiterate, no, you don't have to be certified, but if you are bidding on the contract, you have to be a prime contractor. Now, most of the people who are watching this video and that I speak to really fall into the category of a subcontractor. A subcontractor is a small business owner, typically between 0 to 5 years in age. And that particular business is the one that benefits from getting certified as a minority-owned business or a woman-owned business, etc. And the reason for that is the contracts that the federal government puts out have what are called spending goals. And within a contract, they will have spending goals that say 10% of this total contract has to go to a minority, 5% of the total contract needs to go to a woman, etc. So just to give you an idea, when the federal government puts a contract out, there are typically many line items in that contract. It's not for one particular thing, but it's for a scope of work for a complete project. So the prime contractor is responsible for finding subcontractors who are certified to do some of those line items within that contract. So again, the benefit of getting certified as a woman or minority-owned business is so that you are able to meet the spending goals in the contract and you become a great candidate for a prime contractor to use you as a part of that contract. So they get points for using a subcontractor as it's defined in the contract, and the subcontractor gets the opportunity to get this larger project through the government that they may not have gotten if they weren't in the government contracting space. So now I hope that explanation has helped answer the question of, do you need to be certified in order to bid on a government contract? Now I want to clearly define the difference between a prime contractor and a subcontractor, because this is extremely important when we talk about government contracting. This little piece of information can really help you save a lot of time, money, and headache in looking to do government contracting and just not quite understanding how you fit into the full landscape. So let's start by defining what a prime contractor is. A prime contractor is usually an established business that has been around for at least 7 to 8 years. Additionally, they have the capacity to meet the requirements that are laid out in a government contract. Now, it's important to remember government contracts are large, right? We're talking millions of dollars. So what that means is when the government is making the decision of who's going to get the contract, they're looking at a few things within the business. Well, how many employees do they have? What was their revenue last year? What was their revenue the year before that? How much can they hold in bonding and insurance? If this is a large project, we might need you to hold $20 million in bonding and insurance. Can you afford to do that? Because when you're working with the government, it's important to know in getting a contract, they're not cutting you a check the same day. It might be a net 30, net 60. I've heard of a net 120 before a contractor is actually paid for the work that they're doing. So do you have enough revenue within your business, enough cash flow to be able to support a government contract and not tank the business because you weren't ready to fulfill that level of work? So again, a prime contractor has the capacity to fulfill a government contract. So now let's define what a subcontractor is. So as mentioned earlier, a subcontractor is a small business who's probably been in business about 0 to 5 years. So you're in that startup early stage phases of your business. Something very important to note is that a subcontractor is not the entity who is responding to the RFP. Again, a subcontractor is not the entity, the business, the person who is responding to the RFP. The subcontractor's responsibility in the government contracting space is to work with the prime contractor, not to submit the RFP. Now, all of the things that I have mentioned so far in this video are related to the general contract opportunities that the federal government is putting out there. All of these contracts that people see coming down the pipeline, and it's just like, oh, it's money everywhere. Oh, it's just opportunity, 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 right? Those are typically for the prime contractors. And I don't need to beat a dead horse on that. I hope that that's pretty clear. I want to talk about, as a subcontractor, where your opportunity to work directly with the government is. And that is through their set-aside programs. Their set-aside programs through the federal government are specifically for small businesses to get an opportunity to work directly with the government, because they realize that prime contractors are really getting the majority of the opportunity, right? If it's 100% of the contract and you're only putting spending goals on 25% of that contract, well, 75% of that contract still went to that prime contractor, which continues to allow them to grow and scale. But, you know, it can be a little limiting for some of the small businesses because it's only so much business that can be fulfilled within 10% of the contract. And most prime contractors aren't going out their way, you know, to give out percentages of the contract that they may be able to fulfill internally or use a different type of vendor. So with all that being said, the federal government has set aside programs for subcontractors. And so I want to talk about the two programs to help you get an idea of where you can fit in and potentially benefit. First, let me start by defining what a set aside is. So when it comes to getting certified, part of the reason this process is in place is for record keeping and accountability as well. So we want to make sure that you all are spending money with these smaller businesses, but we also want to have an idea of how many or what the demand is, I should say. So, you know, do we have a whole bunch of people who are certified in a particular industry? Do we have industries where we hardly have any minority or women certified businesses? There has to be some record keeping system. And so the certification has allowed for that system to be in place. So now, again, going back to set asides, the reason set asides were put in place is because there are certain industries or verticals where you have more minority women certified businesses than others. So an example might be construction has a whole bunch of certified vendors in different verticals. So let's say they need new tuck pointing on the side of the building. So rather than bundling it into like this huge construction project with all these other things, they just create a set aside. So it's a small contract, just for that particular piece of work, and a prime contractor can't touch it at all. It is a set aside specifically for the certified small businesses. So now that we've defined what a set aside is, the purpose of it, let's talk about the two different types of set aside contracts that the SBA has. The first one is called a competitive set aside contract, and that's when you have two or more small businesses who are bidding on a set aside opportunity. So it's that set aside they put out there, hey, we see the demand out there. We want to make sure we're creating more opportunities. So we put this contract out there. And now we have two or more businesses who are bidding on that particular contract. It then becomes a competitive set-aside contract. The second set-aside program that the SBA has to support small businesses who are certified as minority and women with getting these government contracts is the sole source contract. And this is the one that is pretty exciting for people who are willing to go through some of the programs that the SBA has. So I talked about this earlier, and as I mentioned earlier, I'm going to do a separate video on the different programs that they have to give you a better understanding of who they're geared towards and where you might fit into the mix. But the point is, as it relates to this government contracting piece and these set-asides, the sole source set aside is specifically for business owners who go through one of the SBA's programs. And now I just want to give you all the name of the programs that the SBA has to support small business owners in expanding their capacity. So being able to scale. The first program is called the 8A program. They have a program called Hub Zone. They have the Women-Owned Small Business Program and the Service Disabled Veteran-Owned Program. Those are the core programs that they have as it relates specifically to sole source set-aside contracts. Those contracts are set aside specifically for businesses who go through one of those programs that I just mentioned. So I hope this video was helpful for you all. If it was, please make sure to like, share, subscribe, leave a comment. If you look at the comments in some of the other videos that I've done, I definitely respond and answer questions. I have had several people who have booked the 15-minute discovery call with me. I encourage you to do so if you have questions, if you're interested in any of the services, or just want to kind of pick my brain on some things. I am more than willing to do that with you. So make sure to just check that description box below. It has all of the links and contact information that you need. I hope this video was helpful for you all, and I look forward to seeing you next time. I'm Christina, and I just broke it down for you.